Sony had its PlayStation 5 September Showcase yesterday, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed. The first PlayStation 5 reveal event was awesome. They showed a ton of brand new great games, lots of gameplay, and overall, I thought it was great. I was really hoping they were going to have another one of those and just bring a ton of new games, lots of gameplay, and just blow it out of the park. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but that doesn't mean that they didn't show a lot of good stuff. Today, I'm going to tell you about what I thought were the best games of the show, as well as some of the worst. Let's get into it. My name is Remington Keller, and welcome to Pixel Codex. If you're new to the channel, Pixel Codex is about rediscovering your childhood love of gaming, learning about all the cool games you missed over the years, and the best way to play them today. If that sounds cool to you, consider subscribing. Before I get started, I put links to everything I'm about to talk about down in the description below, so if you're interested, definitely check them out. Unfortunately, some of this stuff's not up yet, and the PS5 pre-orders instantly sold out, but as soon as stuff gets announced and put up, I'll be coming back and updating all the links. Right out of the gate, we got Final Fantasy 16. And if you know me, I'm a huge fan of the Final Fantasy series. I've been playing it ever since Final Fantasy 4 on the Super Nintendo. Unfortunately for me, this was a terrible start to the show. At first when they showed it, I honestly thought it was like a spin-off or a new entry for Final Fantasy 14. I'm really not a fan of that art style at all. I think it's super generic and it reminds me of something like Dragon's Dogma, and as soon as I saw it, it was an immediate turn-off. So definitely not a good first impression, but after watching it again and realizing it was Final Fantasy 16, it's actually kind of growing on me a little bit. I'm gonna go on a quick tangent real quick. It's really annoying to me that they put MMOs in the middle of the mainline Final Fantasy series. They had it for Final Fantasy 11, then Final Fantasy 14. So every so often, you don't know if the next Final Fantasy is gonna be an MMO or not. The trailer definitely had some cool parts. There was this awesome battle between the Titan and Shiva, and then they show this crazy Ifrit coming out and just flames everywhere. It actually looked pretty cool. The battle system looked just like Final Fantasy 15's or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, because I guess if it's not broke, it's working for them, they're gonna stick with it. It's coming out on PC as well, and I've heard from a lot of people that Final Fantasy 14 actually had a great storyline and there's some really cool stuff in there, and I always wish that there was a way I could play through that without actually playing the MMO. It's by the same director as that, so hopefully they can pull it together, and I'm definitely going to keep an open mind and see what they show next. The next thing they showed was Spider-Man Miles Morales. If you don't know me, my favorite superhero has always been Spider-Man, so anytime they bring out something with Spider-Man, I'm definitely there. And for me, this was one of the top 2 games of the show. It started out a little slow with Miles and his friend walking through a street fair in Harlem, but then it transitioned into this crazy battle on top of a bridge. I'm super excited for this game, and I'm glad they showed off some of the combat. The cool thing about Miles Morales is he doesn't have exactly the same powers as Peter Parker, and it definitely took advantage of that. And you get to see some of the mid-air fighting where he's punching guys and he's jumping from enemy to enemy. He's using his electrical attacks. It looks pretty cool. And then it shows parts as the bridge is collapsing where he's got to swing around and save people. It looked like you're playing through a movie, and I can't wait to try it out. They also announced that they're bringing out an Ultimate Edition of PS5 that basically has a remastered port of the original game. And they said it's not just going to be a straight up up-res of the resolution. It's going to have ray tracing now, upgraded character models, and way faster loading from the SSD. It also contains all the DLC to the first game. One thing that sucks about next-gen games is a majority of them are going to be $70. At least with this, you're getting a whole nother game with your purchase, and honestly, the original Spider-Man is one of the best games on PS4. So the fact that you can play through the whole original game and get the complete story in one game is fantastic. It's a great value. Also, if you're not ready to upgrade to PS5 just yet, they said they're bringing it out to PS4, so you can just play it there. And they said the length is about the same as Uncharted Lost Legacy, so I think that was like 8 hours, so it's pretty decent. Question of the day: what are the games you're most looking forward to for the PS5? After that, they showed Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. And you know what? This actually looked pretty cool to me. It looks like the Harry Potter game we all wanted like 15 years ago. It's basically an open world game where you play as a wizard and you get to go around and do all the Harry Potter stuff. And it's made by Avalanche Software, the developers who made Disney Infinity. I never played those. I wasn't really big in the collectible toy thing, but I heard they're pretty fun, so hopefully it's good. That was actually super confusing to me because I thought when they showed that, they were talking about Avalanche Studios. If you don't know who they are, they made Just Cause, Mad Max, and Rage 2. So I was super pumped at first and then quickly let down. I guess the real question for me is, does anyone even care about Harry Potter anymore? I was a big fan of the books like 20 years ago. I thought the movies were okay. I know they have a play, and Universal Studios has its own park. So I guess some people are still into it, and maybe I'm just out of the loop. Either way, this looks pretty cool. I wish we had it a long time ago, but I'll definitely keep my eye on this one. After that, they showed the new Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It's developed by Raven Software, and if you've ever played a Call of Duty game before, you know it's got awesome shooting gameplay, so no big surprise there. But it looked like they really expanded on it. There's one part where using a guy as a human shield, you like take a grenade, throw it into him, kick him off, he blows up. After that, you stab this guy in the neck and then shoot him in the face. It just looked way more visceral than it normally is. Now, I'm super behind on my Call of Duty games. I think the last one I played was Ghost, so really not the best point to leave the series, but I'm always super excited by them. And I'm one of those people who plays them just for the campaign. I could care less about multiplayer, and I could go on about that for 20 minutes. It's like playing through a crazy action movie. I don't know why more people just completely ignore it. So after the crazy shootout, you jump in the back of Jeep and you have a car chase with his plane trying to take off. You throw down an RV, you're controlling that as cars are blowing up. It looked fantastic. I remember the first two Black Ops were some of my favorite games on the 360. It had a crazy storyline, and if the second one's just like that with better graphics, I'll definitely be happy. Next, they showed Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I've been a big fan of the Devil May Cry series since the original on the PlayStation 2. The second one kind of sucked, but the third game is one of the best action games of all time. I never got a chance to play the fourth one because when it came out, it was better on the Xbox 360. And let's be honest, the Xbox 360's shoulder buttons sucked. So it was terrible for action games where you had to use the shoulder buttons. So this is coming out at launch. For me, I'm a big fan of physical discs, so that kind of sucks, but I haven't got a chance to play 5 yet, and this looks like the best way to do it. They've added Nero as a playable character. It's got upgraded graphics, so you get ray tracing at 4K 30 and also at 1080p 60. If you turn off ray tracing, you can play 1080p at 120 frames per second. Now, just a caveat for that, if your TV doesn't support 120 frames, and to be honest, a lot of them don't, it's not even gonna matter. If you don't know what ray tracing is, it's awesome. Basically, you get realistic shadows, reflections, and light sources. It definitely improves on the games a lot. The next thing they showed was Resident Evil 8 Village. After seeing the original trailer for this game, I've been super pumped about it. It looks like a crazy mix between Resident Evil, The Witch, and werewolves, and I can't wait to play it. This trailer basically showed more of the same, and honestly, I wish they showed more gameplay, but everything they did show looked cool, so I'm super excited for this. The next thing they showed was the PS Plus collection. This is basically a collection of around 20 PS4 games that you're going to be able to play right at launch. The cool thing about these is you're going to be able to download them. It's not streaming like PS Now, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. Just to name a few, there's Batman Arkham Knight, you get Bloodborne, Days Gone, Final Fantasy 15, God of War, Infamous, Persona 5, Ratchet & Clank, Resident Evil 7, Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, and Until Dawn. Honestly, the PS5 launch lineup is looking a little sparse, so it's going to be great to have all these games to play on day one, especially if you've never played them. Now, the one thing to me that was super disappointing about this is they didn't tell us how it's going to work. Are the games going to be upscaled? Is it going to have better frame rate? Or is it just going to be a straight up port exactly how it was on PS4? For me, one of the things I've been interested about the most is how they're going to do backwards compatibility. Now, they didn't actually tell us anything about that here, so hopefully they get into it before launch. The next game they showed is Deathloop, and this is by Arcane Studios, the guys who made Dishonored. If you've never played Dishonored, it's a fantastic first-person game. It's basically got stealth elements, you go around, you kill guys in brutal ways, it's great. And this looked really cool. So this game looks a lot like Live Die Repeat or something, where you have to go over and over again, and you're trying to kill these 10 guys, and you have to keep doing it until you get it right. It looked like a lot of fun, the gameplay looked awesome. There's a lot of cool different ways to kill guys using the environment, so I'm really excited for this. Now finally, we get to the best game of the show for me, and that's the remake of Demon's Souls. It's by Bluepoint, they make the best remakes in the business, and it looks fantastic. Now they actually showed gameplay for this, so I was super excited. If you never played Demon's Souls, it's basically the precursor for the whole Dark Souls series, and these games are basically a dark fantasy version of Zelda. Now these games are crazy hard, they can be super frustrating, but it's completely skill-based. So if you die, it's because of something you did, and it's never because it's cheap. The graphics in this game look amazing. I'm so excited to see all the environments we went through on the PS3, but just taken to a whole nother level. So they basically showed some quick gameplay of you going around killing some zombies, and then they get into some quick clips of the boss fights. And the boss fights in this game are crazy. I still have nightmares about that giant spider. Giant spiders are bad enough without them shooting fire all over the place. For me, this is definitely a day one pickup. Even though Sony did show some good stuff, overall to me it was a disappointing showcase. I wish they showed more new games, a lot more gameplay, and just overall cool stuff. And this just seemed like a rehash of the original one with more disappointing games. On top of it all, the last thing they showed, which usually they save for like the big game, this crazy gameplay reveal, like something that's going to get you super excited, All they did was show the title sequence for God of War. Now, don't get me wrong, God of War is awesome and I'm sure the new one's going to be amazing, but I wish they showed something more than just a title screen. It feels to me like the launch is kind of rushed and they don't have a lot to actually show. Now, the past year's been crazy, so it's totally understandable that developers aren't where they thought they would be, but it's just a little disappointing overall. Even so, I think at launch there's going to be enough stuff to play to keep people busy until the good stuff comes out. You've got Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Demon's Souls remake, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, who doesn't like Vikings, so overall there's going to be a ton of good stuff to play, plus all the PS4 games and the PS Plus collection. If you want to see my thoughts on the original event, check out this video over here, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, have a good one.